All right, bang. Today is Friday. It is April 1st. Welcome to the Dog Walk presented by Barstool Sports. It's True Crime Friday. Before we really get into it, though, I want to talk about our friends at Roman. It's Friday night, people. You got a big weekend ahead of you watching basketball and, just doing whatever you do. Just make sure when you're doing whatever you do, and maybe when you get down to business, you use the Roman swipes, okay? Because Roman... it's an online men's health company, and they change the game with these swipes. It's a secret to longer lasting sex, and it's a clinically proven way to last longer in bed, which is always a key word, clinically proven. They're effective, they're easy to use, and they're fast acting, but they don't require a prescription. Roman can also ship these swipes to you in discreet, unmarked packaging, and each swipe packet is small enough to hide in your wallet for whenever you need it. They're super easy to use. Just take the swipe out of the packet, swipe it on, let it dry, you're good to go. That's it. To get your hands on them, go to GetRoman.com/dogwalk to get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose a monthly plan. That's GetRoman.com/dogwalk. Make sure you're using these swipes, everybody. It's definitely the way to go. You want to put on a good performance this weekend, so make sure you have them for next weekend. Go put in that order, GetRoman.com/dogwalk. Okay, I do want to say there was a little bit of a scheduling conflict. We were supposed to do Undercurrent. If you follow us on social, if you listen to the show this whole week, I talked about we're doing Undercurrent, an HBO documentary. Had a little schedule mix-up. I apologize. But if you didn't watch yet, it gives you extra time to do it. So go watch Undercurrent on HBO. We'll be talking about that next weekend for sure. And this week, we're going to get into a different case. So sorry about that mix-up. But, just hang out for one more week. We'll get to it next week, I promise. But yeah, without further ado, here is this week's True Crime Friday. All right, Allie, what are we getting into today?
Okay. Today we have a very current case. We're going back to the current cases again. Ongoing. So keep in mind that, everything we're reporting could potentially be alleged. Nothing's been brought to court yet, but no official convictions at the moment.
So don't take anything here official. And things can happen quickly. We do pre-record these, so
probably by the time this airs, there'll be updates on this case, which I can keep you updated on Instagram and whatnot. But this is the case of Naomi Irion, which I actually I didn't even go searching for this case. It came across my Twitter. Do you know Brian Enton? Have you heard of him?
I have not.
He was a really significant reporter in the Gabby Petito case. He's a correspondent for News Nation, and so he does a lot of this reporting and investigative journalism and reporting and whatnot. So he came up on my Twitter, and this case, he had a lot covering this. He's currently still covering this case, so he's got a lot of resources on there as well, and he's been talking to the family. I think if he's not still in Nevada, he was in Nevada for some investigative stuff on this case. But Naomi Irion is currently, the FBI is searching for her. She's a missing 18-year-old, believed to have been kidnapped earlier this month in early March. Now, she's been missing since March 12th. So what's that make from today? It's about a little over 2 weeks from today. Naomi, she comes from a very loving family. She actually grew up, she's very well traveled. She grew up traveling the world because her father's a diplomat. So she grew up not only traveling, but with constant security around her. She moved to Nevada to be with her brother and kind of just get this experience of a more normal life, life without diplomatic security, wanted to learn how to drive, get a car, do the normal teenagers things. If you look on the FBI, she is on the FBI's most wanted victims list right now. So there is one of those pages and flyers for her. She's 5'11". She weighs between 230 and 250 pounds with naturally brown hair that has been dyed black. She's got green eyes, a septum piercing, and a tattoo of a smiley face on her right ankle. Now, she was kidnapped from a Walmart parking lot, which, and again, this happened 2 weeks ago, a little over 2 weeks ago. So being that it's such a current case, luckily, and it was in a public place, we do have a lot of security footage, a lot of like things we can track down using technology. She was actually prior to being kidnapped, she was in the Walmart. So you can see, what she was wearing, what exactly what she looked like minutes before she went missing. She was wearing this blue Panasonic work shirt, a gray cardigan, gray pants, and brown boots. She was driving. You can see her car on security footage. You can see literally the whole thing. Now, one thing I will note is I love when these victims who are missing or have disappeared or wherever there's a search for somebody and somebody has some kind of distinctive feature like this, like a tattoo of a smiley face on your right ankle. It makes it so much easier to identify a person. If you have something like a tattoo or a really apparent birthmark or, something that sets you apart from just like a girl with brown hair, right?
Yeah.
So she's still missing, but at least we have that. Mm-hmm. We have very distinct features to be able to identify her. Now, also at the time that she went missing, she was carrying a black purse and an iPhone, either iPhone 10 or 11, which does have yet to be located. The authorities have tried to track down her cell phone. They've tried to get signals to locate it and maybe get some idea of where she is now, but they haven't been able to track anything down since around the time that she did get kidnapped. So they're in a little bit of a dead end with the phone right now, which kind of stinks. But police say she was kidnapped from Fernley, Nevada, which is about 30 miles east of Reno for, I guess if you're thinking about, I'm not super familiar with Nevada other than like Las Vegas. So this is kind of where it was kind of more of a rural area. She was at this Walmart parking lot or also this Walmart at like 5:30-ish in the morning, just a little before 5:30 in the morning, because she would drive here and catch the shuttle that would take her to work. So she would leave her car there, catch the shuttle, and go to work. And her family said that this was like a very regular routine for her. So it wasn't just like crazy that she was in the Walmart parking lot at 5:30 a.m. Obviously, it was super early, so it was still dark. There's not a lot of other people around because it's 5:30 in the morning. She's just catching the bus or catching the shuttle. Now, on CCTV footage, you can see this guy who's wearing dark clothing. He's got a hoodie with his hood up, and he's walking back and forth through the parking lot. And he's walking back and forth, and then all of a sudden he turns towards Naomi's car and kind of like squares up or like puffs up his chest and then heads directly towards her. Now, it is said, Naomi's family has said that the police told the family that this guy was heading towards Naomi from the direction of a homeless camp. They did not specify if he was a homeless person, and it's not speculated that he is, but that's like the direction he was coming from this day at this time. So when he starts heading towards Naomi, and he approaches the driver's side of her car, and he opens the door. So the door must have been unlocked. He opens the door, and he either like says something to her or does something very subtle to her that causes her to move from the driver's seat to the passenger seat. He then gets into the driver's seat, closes the door, and drives away. And that was the last time that she was seen. Now, it's obviously not known what he said to her or may have done to her. You can see it on the CCTV, but obviously there's no audio or anything. So he obviously said something that scared her enough to make her get out of the driver's seat into the passenger seat, and then, he took control from there. What I don't know, and who knows, this may come out in further detail later on down the road, is there a reason she stayed in the passenger seat and didn't just get out of the car? Because obviously hindsight 2020, I'm a third party looking into this case, but if I would think, like, if this were me in the case, I would just get out of the car. Like, take the car, take whatever's in it. If this is a robbery kind of situation.
Now, did she like cross over like the middle console, or did she get out and go around?
No, I think she just moved in
okay.
within the car. I think, but don't quote me on that. Now, it's also, so it's speculated that from a former FBI agent was kind of giving her 2 cents on this case and was like, it's speculated that obviously he got into her car, he drove her car off the lot, but then 3 days later on March 15th, her car was found in this industrial park, completely abandoned. The car was empty, but police have said, and this is very specific wording that they used, they said it's clear that a crime was committed inside the car, but they didn't elaborate on what that could mean. A lot of different things, right? Is the car just disheveled on the inside? Is there blood? Is there a weapon? They didn't elaborate. And obviously this is like an extremely ongoing case. So it's probably why they're going to keep it close to the chest. But they said that it was very clear that a crime had been committed inside her car. So now it's speculated that, and it was Naomi's car, a 1992 Mercury Sable. Like I said, it was found in this industrial park. Naomi nowhere to be found, but it's speculated that he obviously drove the car off the lot, abandoned it in this random location, and then got into a secondary vehicle and fled. So that essentially they like switched cars, so that they were on the lookout for Naomi's car, but they were no longer in Naomi's car. Because of this, also shown on CCTV footage was this like Chevy Silverado, this blue Chevy Silverado truck. And that's what they believed that it was either switched into or the kidnapper was driving and moved Naomi into. And the police have said, whoever drives this truck, they were looking for it for a while. Whoever drives this truck, or whoever was in this car, if it was more than one person, knows where Naomi is and knows what happened to her. So they were like on the lookout for this truck. And obviously this guy in the CCTV footage. The car, like I said, was found 3 days later on March 15th. It was turned over. It's currently turned over for evidence right now. And police have not elaborated any more about what they actually found in the car or what they think took place in the car. Between him driving off the lot and the car getting to the industrial park, some sort of struggle ensued. Something happened in that car. On March 25th, which is 13 days after she went missing, this past Monday, this week, 41-year-old Troy Driver was arrested in connection with Naomi's disappearance. He's currently being held on a $750,000 bail in Lyon County Jail in Nevada, obviously. He's being held on kidnapping charges. So at this point in time, Naomi is still missing. Police have not been able to locate her body. They're still trying to get, obviously, clues, trying to track down her location. Their phone's not giving him much information. He's not giving much information. But investigators have not said what evidence that they presented to the judge in order to obtain the arrest warrant and be able to seize the truck, because they found the truck. So they arrested Troy Driver. They found this blue Chevy Silverado, and there is a picture. Again, I believe it's on I'm positive it's on Brian Enton's Twitter of the house that they found the truck at. It was parked at this house. It's like a very small, rundown looking house. He said, Brian Enton, the reporter, said that when they actually went to this house and when they pulled up, there was a female outside, and when she saw them, she like quickly hurried back inside, and they haven't gotten any activity since. I don't know who that was. Was it Troy Driver's wife, sister, mom, friend? Who knows? But somebody who clearly did not want to be interacting with the media. Now, Troy Driver himself he's not a stranger to the police at all. He has a criminal activity log starting back to when he was 17 years old. So he's a career criminal, if you will. When he was 17, he was arrested in a string of robberies in California. He also admitted to being involved in the murder of a drug dealer named Paul Rodriguez. So, it's not like small crimes either. The string of robberies, he also got firearm charges because it was robberies with a firearm. So not small charges, pretty significant charges.
Big time criminal, yeah.
Yeah, including a previous murder charge that he admitted to being involved in. Troy, for these charges, he has served time previously. So again, he's no stranger to the police. He served time as of Tuesday, which I think was the 26th, because Monday was the 25th. The FBI is now offering a $10,000 reward for any information leading to the location of Naomi Irion. Now, I think this is one, similar to how we talked about last week in Undercurrent. Like, it's very pleasing to see that the resources are being put into locating her. Mm-hmm. The FBI is on it. Lyon County Sheriff took over the case and they're on it. They've got Naomi's family is very active on media and in the news right now, just trying to get, bring awareness to the case.
The word out there.
Yeah. And not every case gets that media attention that it needs or deserves. So they're being very active on those platforms right now to try and get that word out, to try and see if anybody has any, details that could help along her case. Who knows? Maybe there was somebody that was at the Walmart that morning and saw this go down, or has footage somewhere else, after they drove off, or was maybe in the Silverado truck. We don't know if it was just Troy in there. A lot of details that still need to be ironed out. The biggest one, obviously, being where Naomi is or where her body is. Since she has been missing since the 12th, today, the day we're recording it, it's the 30th. So I hate saying this, but it's not a good sign that she's been missing for this long. And it usually doesn't statistically
end well. Not to say that it can't. Hopefully it does, but
we always hope for the best. Yeah. And there have definitely been cases where it does end differently than we would expect. But like I said, this case is rapidly developing. The investigation is very much active. It's currently unfolding. It needs that media attention. It needs anybody with information to come forward to police or FBI. Troy Driver was actually set to face a judge this week as well. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of updates coming from that. I don't think
it's going to be much, right?
I don't think it's going to be much.
Yeah.
Because, it's a preliminary hearing. Yeah. And also they don't have Naomi. Like, it's very hard. And he's being held on kidnapping charges right now. So, it's, again, without Naomi, it hasn't turned into any type of murder or homicide case at all. He's on kidnapping charges. But I don't know how much is going to come out of just like a preliminary hearing. Now, a couple of just like side notes that have been touched on in this case is, I guess, thoughts and theories behind it. So it was noted that the night before Naomi disappeared, she did go on a date with a guy that she had met online. So people immediately kind of latched onto that and were like, well, could that be, could we have like a, pseudo Tinder swindler situation here? Like, could it have been this guy who was still virtually a stranger to her? Police have ruled out any link to this guy. The second kind of, I guess, theory or thought behind it was she had an ongoing investigation at work for sexual harassment that had been reported police said, oh, is this like, could this be related to that? Could this person be, who was accused of sexual harassment? Would they maybe be angry and want to hurt her in some way? Especially because she was waiting for the shuttle to go to work. So they might have known that she was there. Police also say that this is not linked, or they don't think that this is linked to the disappearance either. This had been ongoing for, I don't think this was like super, super recent. I think this investigation had been ongoing for a couple of months at work. So they don't think that's related. This former FBI agent that was kind of giving her 2 cents on the case, she was saying it's very likely that this guy that we saw in the CCTV footage the morning that she was kidnapped this was a regular routine for her. She regularly went to work. She regularly caught this shuttle at 5:30 in the morning in the dark in this parking lot where not a lot of other people around. Like, it's very possible that this guy had been studying her routine.
Scouting her out, yeah.
Right. And had been kind of planning, like, trying to figure out what his best window of opportunity would be. And then this particular morning went for it. Again, I would be very curious to find out what he said to her to make her move over. Or if the two knew each other, and maybe that's why she didn't get out of the car. Like, she stayed in the car, and didn't take off and let him have the car and just, steal the car or whatever. He also was, like, it's very significant that this morning he was wearing a hoodie that was, like, essentially a way to conceal his face, probably from the security footage or the security cameras. Now, he was walking like, what this former FBI agent was saying was that he was walking around the parking lot. He was pacing back and forth, almost like he was waiting or expecting her to show up and waiting for her to park in the spot that she does at the same time that she does. And then, like I said, he like squares off and kind of, he's like, there she is. And like goes towards her. Could it be that it was just, a guy perusing a parking lot and saw this random opportunity? Maybe. But I think probably like a stalker kidnapper situation is probably more likely here. Like, he knew her routine. He knew when his window of opportunity was going to be. He was just waiting for her to arrive. Sounds a little bit more likely at this time being. Obviously, like I said, a lot is still unfolding. But it's a very ongoing case. So lots of details still unfolding about this case. Like I said, by the time this airs, we'll probably have more updates to give on it, which we can do on Instagram. But it's, obviously we're hoping for the best, right? We're hoping Naomi turns up alive, obviously as unharmed as is possible in this situation. She's been missing for over 2 weeks already. But I guess we're going to have to wait and find out, just like everyone else is. Yeah. So we'll have to keep it updated.
Yeah, it's a lot of, when there's the footage, and then there's so many of those assumptions about scouting out and whatnot. It's always
there's obviously something in the car.
Yeah, something, exactly. It's always like, oh man, like something.
Yeah, it's one of those cases though. I mean, at least obviously it's a very current case. At least we've got technology. At least clearly we have some type of evidence. Hopefully police will be able to use to either do tracking or let the DNA or let the evidence kind of tell the story for themselves. Whereas, like, this is not a case from the 60s, right? Like Beverly Jarose that we talked about. Like, we do have the technology to do those things today. So at least we've got that on our side. So hopefully kind of unfold some more details.
All right. So it turns out you just heard the swoosh. Allie and I, we're over Zoom right now. We added this in after the fact because there is obviously a huge update to this case. So, Allie, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah. So we kind of talked about the other day when we were recording this, how this seems to be a case that's unfolding super quickly. In light of that, it has unfolded even before we've been able to air this episode. So just a brief update, but a very big update. Naomi Irion's remains have been found as of today, and today is the 31st. So her remains were found in Churchill County, Nevada. It hasn't come out with much detail as far as how they got to the remains. They were found in this super like wide open, vast area of like nothing but desert, essentially. It's literally just like a wide open area. There was two different, I guess, alludings to how they got there. One said they found the remains via an investigative actions is what led them there. And then another source said a tip led them to where her remains are, which is kind of, to me, kind of is along the same lines of an investigative action, right? Mm-hmm. It also, so Troy Driver did face a judge. He's set to face a judge again on April 5th. So this coming week. Like I said, he's being held on a $750,000 bail. And it said that he should not be released with at least without an ankle monitor. So even if he does make bail, it won't be without an ankle monitor. Those are kind of the two biggest updates. I will say one of the reporters went back to the house that Troy Driver's truck was found at, and they talked to somebody, saying to be Troy's best friend, who just said, police have it all wrong. They've got the wrong guy, kind of thing. That could literally mean anything. And it could just be, a guy defending his friend. We don't really know, but it's kind of the most communication we've really gotten from Troy Driver's side.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. I mean, that was obviously the big thing. You just heard the episode, and we talked about they couldn't find the body and whatnot. So that's obviously the biggest part of the investigation, and a true crime case is the body. So unfortunately, in some ways, fortunately, she's located. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of things that are going to happen from here, I guess. And this is where really your Instagram, you'll have more updates from here about the case and whatnot. And maybe, if there's a lot more, we could do an update episode, but that's just to fill people in, because you probably just heard that. And if you're updated on the case, you probably were screaming at your, phone or whatever, your headphones, being like, oh, they found her. But at the time we recorded, they didn't. And then literally 24 hours later, they did. So I just want to give the people an update here. We just did this over Zoom quickly. And it's sad news, unfortunate. And hopefully they bring justice and everything, right?
Yeah, we'll keep updated with it. I'm sure there's a lot to come.
Okay. But all right, then we'll wrap it there. Thanks, Allie. Thanks for hopping on here quickly and, kind of bringing us the update. That's it for this week, everybody. Thank you for listening. We'll be back on Monday. We will see you then.